Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. I know you all have been anxiously awaiting the next video since the mango. That one was a little long. I'll try to keep them a little bit shorter or at least more entertaining. Tonight I'm going to make pork stir fry, Valentine's Day dinner for one. There's probably going to be enough for two, but I don't have anyone to share it with, so I'll bring it for lunch tomorrow. I have pork that's been marinating overnight, just soy sauce, a little sesame oil, chopped garlic, red pepper flakes, and I honestly forget what else I put in it, but smells good, so hopefully it'll turn out well. I apologize for the video quality. I don't have a video camera at this point. Mom, my birthday's, well, hopefully you know when it is, but, you know, I'm going to start making videos of myself cooking, so if you feel up to it, I could use a camera. Alright, so my pork, I'll get to cutting that in a little bit. Basically, I also have already chopped, well, that's interesting. It's because my counters are so ugly, probably the video doesn't like it. I have mushrooms, really thinly sliced onions, thinly sliced jalapenos, and some chopped garlic. I'm going to show you just sort of real quick how I chop a pepper. I'm going to cut the bottom off because this one there's some funky areas to it. You can certainly snack on that if you want. From there I'll stand it up. Basically gives me a nice base, and I'll just cut right down. This is a good way to get the ribbing out also, and basically de-seed the pepper so I don't have to deal with those later. So basically already, you know, there's a little bit of rib left in this one, but you can easily just peel that off. So basically now I have 4 pieces that I can really quickly julienne, which I don't really know what julienne means except cut it into strips. So when you're dealing with peppers, you want to deal from the inside out. The skin can get a little bit in the way and sometimes make your knife slip, and you don't want that, obviously, because we're trying to avoid cuts. A little while back, I don't know if you can see that, but I cut my fingertip right here. Clear off. Had to go to the emergency room. But luckily it's right across the park, so because I was drinking, it was good that I didn't have to drive there. Moral of the story, live close to an emergency room. Or don't cut your finger off. I got some music going in the background. Basically, I like to either cook watching a little Food Network or something, or just put my iPod on and jam out a little bit. I'm probably just going to use half this pepper. It seems that I have plenty. In general, when you're cooking, you probably just want to keep your portions pretty even as far as the different vegetables you're going to use. My pork, I'm going to actually get on a different cutting board. Don't know if anyone's heard the term cross-contamination, but it's something you want to avoid. I can use the same knife because I'm not going to cut any more vegetables. But basically, you know, working with raw meat, you want to put it on a different surface. So I have 2 thinly cut pieces of pork here. I think combined they were like $2 at the grocery store. So pork's a really good value. It's really lean, and it's quick cooking in this form. So really good for this stir fry application. But like I mentioned before, you know, you can substitute any of these things. You don't like mushrooms, you don't like onions, you know, certainly use any vegetables you want. And at the same time, see, I'm putting these on the same cutting board now, but don't worry, I'm not going to let them touch, so it's all good. But you can, you know, use chicken, you can use shrimp. I love shrimp, but I just don't have any. This pork was on sale at the store, so generally try to be economical with that stuff. I live in Hoboken, New Jersey, which is right across the river from Manhattan, and those of you who are familiar with the area know that it's not a cheap place to live, so, you know, gotta save money where you can. And on that note, I went to the grocery store yesterday, you know, picked up a bunch of stuff. probably 2 weeks worth of groceries or so, and spent about $60. When I was thinking about it, you could eat out on a daily basis. Maybe say you're spending $20 a day, which is probably pretty generous if you eat all 3 meals out, or even 2 at this point. And say you spend $20 a day over a 2-week period, you're going to spend, you know, upwards of $280. So for me to spend $60 in a grocery shopping trip, obviously you can do the math there, but I've saved myself a lot of money. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of this cutting board, get rid of this knife, because I'm not going to need to use those again. Wash my hands up good. And I'm actually going to grab my wok, which is not a necessary tool. If you don't have a wok, totally fine. Use a skillet or something. I got this as a gift at some point. Woo. Big wok, heavy duty, really thick bottom. You can get this thing really heated up, which is nice. Sorry if this music is annoying. On another note, I also, whoops, not supposed to open the top, but I have some rice cooking on the back burner. And I'm trusting Gordon Ramsay on this one because I love him. And I know he's a great chef. And I saw him today on a YouTube video cook basmati rice. And he basically said he had a foolproof method of cooking rice. So I'm going to trust him and go with it and hope that it works out. But I have basically the rice 1.5 times the amount of water as rice. I have 3 garlic cloves that I've just smashed and some salt and pepper just to season it up real quick. So I have that going, brought it to a boil, reduced down to a simmer with the lid on, and I'm going to let that go for about 10 minutes and then pull it off the heat basically until I'm ready for it. So I've just got a little bit of olive oil in the wok heating up, and I don't know if you caught this, but I love sriracha. Sriracha is this Thai chili sauce. You might see it out at Asian restaurants or whatnot. You can get it at most grocery stores now. Alright, my oil's smoking here, so it's ready to get going, but my empty sriracha bottle makes a great form for olive oil into, you know, when you're cooking and whatnot. So I'm going to first take care of my vegetables, and then I'm going to pull them out of the heat. And then I'll cook my pork. Once my pork is cooked, I'll get my sauce in there and show you what I'm going to do with that. A lot of people probably have a little bit of trouble creating that, you know, Chinese food type sauce at home. Oh, there's my rice timer. So I'm just going to pop that back burner off and let that just sit there and steam. It won't be a problem as long as you haven't cooked it for too long before that. You know, like I said, I only had it on 10 minutes, so that should be fine. So basically I have all my vegetables in here. I'm just going to toss them up a little bit. I have my nice wok tool here. Whoop. You hear that sizzle? That means that you're actually sauteing instead of, for all intents and purposes, boiling. You want to make sure that you don't boil these vegetables because you'll end up getting them soft without developing that flavor on the outside. That flavor is what we really want on these vegetables and on the pork. And you'll get that by really heating the pan up nice and hot before you put them in. So if you're cooking at some point and you don't hear that sizzle when you put something in the pan, it's not quite hot enough. So make sure that at that point you kind of pull whatever you put in there and make sure you get that pan up to temperature before going any further. Alright, so now on most cooking shows you all see people season. I don't know if you can see a little bit over here. I have these 3 dishes. I have salt, red pepper flakes, and black pepper, fresh ground. I keep my seasonings right here by the stove, just so they're ready for me. With this particular dish, I'm going to hold off on the salt because there's a lot of salt in my soy marinade, and I want to just be careful that I don't over salt before I take care of my sauce. At the end, I'll taste it, and if it needs some salt, then I'll certainly put some in at that point. But you want to just be careful when you're dealing with soy sauce because it is very salty. Alright, so basically at this point, I have a pretty good saute on my vegetables. I'm going to pull them out of the pan, and I'm going to get my pork in. So I'll just grab a plate. Doesn't matter, just any old plate will do. Get those out of the pan. Make sure you get everything out because you don't want anything burning in there when you have the pork in. And basically, those health nuts out there might grimace, but I'm going to put a little bit more oil in the pan just to help my pork out a little bit. I am making, like I said, at least 2 portions of this. So it's, it's not that much oil when you think about what's going on. And, I like to eat pretty healthy myself, so I'll take care of y'all when I'm making these videos, and you can trust me that they'll all be pretty healthy. Alright, so let me throw a piece of pork in here. Hear that sizzle? We're ready to go. So, get all that pork in. Just make sure to spread it out evenly. Get it going. This will take literally probably 2.5–3 minutes. Pork's one of those nice proteins that you don't have to cook fully through. So you can serve pork a little bit pink if you want. But because I've cut it so thin, and because it was a thin cut to begin with, it'll really just take a couple minutes. And because I got the pan screaming hot here. Smells awesome, by the way. How are we doing on time? It's been 12 minutes, alright, so basically, I know these videos might get a little bit long, but I generally make sure that when I'm cooking dinner, it doesn't take more than, 15–20 minutes. Sometimes I'll slow simmer stuff, or, I've made ropa vieja, which will be on a future video, I promise. And that stuff you might cook for a while, but the actual time over the stove isn't going to be very long. It's just, it might have to sit there and cook for a while once you've done all the work. But, at that point you can, read a book or watch TV or watch a movie or whatnot. So, no worries on that. Alright, so I threw my garlic in just at the last minute here. Again, same with the vegetables. You want to make sure you do not burn the garlic. Burnt garlic does not have a pleasant flavor. So, this pork is looking actually real good. I'm just going to give it 20 more seconds here. Get this garlic nice and toasted. Alright, I'm going to pull this straight out, and I'm going to put it straight on the vegetables, and that's not a problem because, again, everything's cooked at this point. In order to, stay away from really dealing with cross-contamination of the raw meat and that sort of thing, and I'm talking about this right now because I am using the marinade that was on the raw meat, but if I bring it up to a boil, then it's going to cook out all the bacteria that came from that raw meat. So I don't have to worry too much about that. Alright, so just make sure that if you're going to use something like that, you do boil it. Take all the precautions you can. Alright, you know what this is? This is called cornstarch. And basically what we can do with cornstarch, right, so my liquid is definitely at a boil, so no problem there. Cornstarch is great. talking before about that thickness that you get from, you know, a Chinese restaurant type sauce. And basically that's going to come from what's called a slurry. And you make that with cornstarch and just a little bit of water. So here, I've used the same Tupperware. You know, I don't have a dishwasher. I don't have anyone living here with me, so I got to do all the dishes. So excuse my shortcuts. But so I mixed in cold water with that cornstarch, and I just dump it straight on in to the wok with this sauce. And it's just going to tighten up real quick and create that nice syrupy consistency that you get at those Chinese restaurants. Now, I probably put a little too much, so what I'm going to do is just add a little bit more water just to thin it out. And probably my wok tool isn't the best thing right now. You know, we learn as we go when we're cooking, and I've certainly made stuff like this before, but every different recipe's going to call for different amounts and whatnot. So, alright, basically I have a really nice consistency on my sauce right now. I'm going to dump all these ingredients back in to the wok. Get rid of this plate. That's another thing. Just try to keep your kitchens, as clean as you can while you're working. It'll make life a lot easier in the end. Alrighty. That's coming together real nice, and I think we're just about there. I'm going to cut the heat off of here. I kept that on high heat the entire time. You know, you have to make sure that you have everything ready to go in the pan once you start heating it up. But if you do, you keep it on that high heat, again, things will cook very quickly. Let me get this cornstarch back in the cabinet. I want to take a bite of this pepper. Just looks so delicious. Alright, let me get up my rice. Another thing I mentioned before was tasting. So I said I'm gonna go easy on the salt, and I actually didn't put any salt into my stir fry because I was worried about that rice is perfect. I was worried about the salt content of the soy sauce. And yeah, I put my fork right back into the rice after I eat it, but who cares? I'm eating by myself, so no big deal. Alright, so I'm just going to take a bite of this pork and check the salt on it. Yeah, I mean, it's literally perfect. Definitely don't need any salt. I'm going to put a little bit more red pepper flake. I love spicy food, so you'll see me use a lot of that. Again, also use a lot of sriracha. Whatever, you know, Tabasco, whatever you like. If you don't like spicy food, leave it out. I know everyone has different tastes, so no problem. Alright, basically I'm going to plate this up. Nothing fancy here. Just get in here with a little bit of my rice. And like I mentioned, I had those smashed garlic cloves in there. You can just easily pull those right out so you don't get a big old hunk of garlic. Alright, so I got some rice, and I'm going to take my stir fry right on top. Get a few of these red peppers in there for some color. Clean off that plate. And that's what we have. Beautiful pork stir fry, Valentine's Day dinner for one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Who knows what I have in store the next couple of days. I make a lot of tacos and whatnot, but Asian, Mexican, Italian, those are sort of my favorites. So anyway, stay tuned. I'll keep the videos coming. I hope you keep watching them. Let me know if there's something in particular you want me to make. I'd love to help you out. Alright, enjoy. Happy Valentine's Day.